something that is, for me, it's very important. It's a huge part of my business, and I will talk about everything about certified translation and what do you need to do, what regulations might be, and how each country's regulations may change the way you do your certified translations. So stick around, let's talk about certified translation. So let's talk about certified translation. It is a huge part of my business, as I am certified translator. I'm a NATI certified translator, and obviously a huge amount of clients that come to me, they require the translations to be certified, and for usually for applications with the Portuguese government, since I work with Portuguese. So I have to be aware of the regulations in Portugal, and I need to know everything that is to know so I can do my job. And that's what you should do as well. So first of all, we need to know what type of document the client requires us to translate, but that's common practice. Anytime you receive a document to quote, you should always have a look, see what field is it in, if it's within your scope of skills, all of that, you need to know that, so you obviously can quote within your skills. You need to know if you are capable of that. And as I said before, if you believe that is out of your scope, it's much better to reject the job and say, well, sorry, although I'm a certified translator, in the case of certification, this is out of my field, so I don't feel very comfortable with this. I might decline to do a quote for you on this occasion. I might not be the perfect fit. Because think about it, accepting something that you are not confident with, and then if you do a bad job, it is your reputation that it is on the line. It is your business that may be damaged in the process. So think about this. You should always think about your business and your bottom line, of course, and the way that you can make your business grow. And that obviously customer service and great customer service is a huge part of that. And if you don't provide good customer service, if you don't have that good relationship with your clients, and honesty is a huge part of that, of course, you may get that project, you may get that cash flow on that occasion, but then it will go away because the client won't come back, the client won't refer you, so you will basically be living on first-time clients. And our goal is that we have long-standing clients, so clients that stay and possibly sign a contract, and clients that come back if they need us, come back or refer us to other clients. And this is something that has happened to me. I've mentioned this before. I have a lot of my clients that at first I would think it would be a one-off project, because certified translation usually is that way, and it happens that then they need more documents translated, and then they come back and they bring me more documents to translate, sometimes 1 year, 2 years after the first project. It has been happening with me, and it's been a very common occurrence in the past few years. So this is something, when you provide good customer service and you are there for your customers, for your clients, they obviously recognize that, and they come back if they need you again, or they recommend. It happened to me as well. So first of all, and again, and this I've been saying for all projects, be honest, analyze the document, see if you can do it, see if it's within your skill set. If it's not, it's much better to say you are not the right person for that project and refuse it, rather than go ahead and do it. And if you do a bad job, it's your reputation on the line and it's your business. Then you must think about all the complementary work that you have to do in the case of certified translation. And in that comes the country that you are working with that may require you to do different things, and you might need to do some extra work, you may need to do something else. So you need to stamp all your translations because, and in the particular case of Portugal, they would want the translation and your signature. So you need to stamp, and the current stamp, you have your stamp where you put the date that you performed that translation, and you have to sign it. So you need to stamp, get a copy of the original, and this I always recommend this to all my students in my courses. This is also a safety for you. You do your translation, and on the verse of the page you print a copy of the original, and you put a statement that that is a copy of the original that was sent to you most probably via email, and it's based on that original that you did your translation, and then you stamp it and you sign it. I always do this, and this is a safety net for you as well, because the person that is going to receive that document, the authorities, in my case most probably the Portuguese authorities, they are going to look at whatever translation I did, and then they are going to look at the verse of the page, and they're going to see the original, and they can compare that original with the one that the client is obviously giving to them as well. So they can see, okay, this was exactly the same document. I can see it's the same document, and this is what the translator has translated, in that particular case, me. So it's important, it's a safety net for you. So there is no chance that they present other documents or anything. It is obviously like that. And then you have to get it ready for the client. I always include a letter thanking the client for the project, a little bit of a business card. I always include my business card as well. I've got them here, so I have my business card that I always give to my clients, and all of those services that obviously they will appreciate to see something. I put everything on a plastic pocket so it's protected in case it rains or something like that, and I send to the client via express mail for Australia. In the case of overseas clients, and I have already instances of clients that were in Australia and then they moved to Portugal and they need further translations, obviously I had to send them to Portugal, and then I will give the client the choice if they want to send it through Australia Post, which is not very safe, or send it through DHL, and usually they choose DHL. But then on that occasion you have to leave it with the client. You always leave the choices with the client. The client should be the one choosing what they want to do, and you just go by whatever the client chooses. So this is what I do. Then of course you have each country's regulation. You must be aware of each of the regulations of the country that you are working with. In my case, I'm working with Portugal. Even though I am in Australia, I do not work with DFAT, for example. I do not work with the Australian authorities because my certification is from English into Portuguese. So all my certified translations are in Portuguese, and they are fit for the Portuguese government. So I need to know what it's needed there. And in Portugal, I wrote an article about this I think it was last year. In Portugal, there is no certified translators per se, or at least when I left there weren't, and very recently there weren't yet. I know that they now have two associations there, and one of the associations is trying to have that in place in Portugal, which I think it would be amazing for them, because then it would be something that would, for example, for us here in Australia, would work as well, since they, for example, would recognize a Portuguese translator affiliated with NATI equivalent to one affiliated to the association in Portugal. So I'm not sure if they are going to manage to do that or not, but in Portugal, since there is no certified translators there, so the translator does not provide them with the final product, which in Australia we do. When I certify my translations, my certified translation would be the final product for Australia because it has my stamp, and Australian authorities accept that as a proof of my qualifications and accept that as the translation itself. In Portugal, it's not really the translation, it's the signature of the translator. So usually you have to go to a notary and get that signature recognized. In Australia, because usually all the documentation and applications go through the Portuguese consulate, you need to get that certified by the Portuguese consulate. So I usually all of my translations go to the Portuguese consulate. So that I usually do a little declaration with all the documents I have translated in that project with my credentials, etc., for the Portuguese consulate as a request for them to approve my signature. I do that free of charge, and this is my opinion, and this is my way of doing things. I'm not sure if any other colleague of mine do it. This is just what I do, what I personally do. Then obviously you print the stamp, and you have to get everything done for the client. Everything needs to be a hard copy. Recently, NATI has created digital stamps, which I think is a great thing because with a digital stamp, you can, for example, you can create a stamp for each day because it's all created through our NATI portal, and we can create a stamp for each day or each project even, which I think, and even NATI recognizes it would be unnecessary because you would be creating too many stamps, but it just depends. But you can create one for each day or one for each project. And what happens is, for example, if you are suspicious that that translation has been used to any sort of fraudulent activity, or that your stamp has been copied or something like that, you can advise NATI about that, and they can cancel that particular stamp automatically. The same can happen, for example, if the client doesn't pay you, you can cancel that particular stamp, and that translation would not be valid. So it's a security for the translation and for the translator, because obviously it can be verified. It has a little QR code that obviously the authority that receives it can go and verify your credentials, your identity and your credentials. However, I am not sure yet what the Portuguese consulate thinks about this. I will keep you posted. I'm intending to send a letter to them and advise them about these digital stamps, and see what they would say about it, because it would really be very useful. For example, for the client, you would save them the money of the postage, and obviously time, because once you finish the translation, you would send it via email, and the client would get the final product. Everything would be there, everything would be fine. So this is what certified translation entails. You need to do a lot of work. It might just be a driver's license, which you might think it's a little job, very little words, but then there's all these other process, there's all these other things. That's why in my particular case, I have a flat rate for per page for certified translation. Because of that, it includes all the rest. The rest of the service is all included, and you pay for the translation. For example, if you have 100 words, you pay the same as if you have a page with 500 words. So it's the same. So it's just the way it is the service, is everything, it's included. I think this is something that we need to take in consideration, that sometimes is not just the words that we translate, it's the job, it's the whole, the holistic approach of the job that we take. Yes, I could just charge per word and then put certification and put a flat rate and then put posting and then put printing. I think that would be unnecessary. I think that would be just adding things that really don't add up. And this is current practice in the industry. We just charge a flat rate for a certified translation, and that will do. So today I decided to bring this to you, so you have a little insight of what happens with certified translation and the differences. Each country may have different rules, and that is very important. If you know the rules in each country and what each country accepts and what each country needs, you will be more or better equipped to deal with the task at hand. But remember, you always give the options on the table to your client, and you never provide a consultative role, because that's not our role. It's not in our code of ethics. In fact, it would go against our code of ethics. What we do, even if the client, even if you work with the, for example, like me, with a Portuguese consulate for many years. I've been in this profession for more than 10 years, and I've been working with the Portuguese consulate. Basically all my certified translations go to the Portuguese consulate. You do not tell the clients what they need, because you don't know. I'm not I'm not an officer in the Portuguese consulate, so I'm not aware of the rules. The rules may change. They may change according to cases. I am not sure. I don't work there. So I always refer my clients to the Portuguese consulate in my case. So this is what you should do. If the client asks you what they need, you should tell them, well, I don't know. I don't know what you need in your particular case. I would consult the consulate and ask them, what documents do you need and what translations do you need, and we will go from there. The Portuguese consulate now asks for a lot of documents to have an apostille. I've been translating lots of them. It's another thing that you have to add. So you need to understand all of these dynamics, and you need to do all of these things. So be aware of what you need, be aware of all these things, but if the client asks you about what they need, what they don't need, you can't provide them that information. You just can be aware for yourself, but you cannot tell them, well, you will need your documents apostille, for example. You don't know. The consulate may have changed rules, or the consulate may be satisfied that those documents do not need an apostille. And if you're going to tell your client that they do, you will obviously incur that client into extra costs that may not be needed. So you don't give advice, any sort of advice, to the client. All you do is you provide your services, you tell them what services you provide, they choose what they want, and in regards to the documents or anything that it's concerned to the authority where those documents are going to be tendered, that's for the client to ask directly with them. We shall not give any sort of advice. I have said that many times, and I stress here that is not our job. So this is what I think everyone needs to do about certified translation. I like, it's a very nice job, because you just help the clients achieve goals, either that is a visa or I don't know, it can be lots of things, and it's very rewarding when you know that you are helping someone else achieving their goals. Yeah, and it's very nice. I've been doing this for more than 10 years, and I'm really happy about this. So today I decided to share with you what I think and what I think it's needed and what I think everyone needs to know about certified translation. So for today, we had a video that was a little longer than usual. I think I extended myself, but it was I think it was very important to explain all these, especially in terms of the legal implications and all the intricacies that you have with certified translations, because usually they are meant to go to any sort of authority, and each authority may have different rules. Some may ask you to do a statement stating something and you will need to do it. Others may want you to do something else, and you must know exactly what the client needs, and then you can do your job. Another thing that I didn't mention, but it is very important and I have to mention now, is please, if you have, for example, a police report or a birth certificate or a school report, and you have the logo of the school, please do not copy the logo of the identity and put on the translation. That's a breach of copywriting. You cannot. You are in breach of the copyright of that logo. You have to translate the text. The logo shall not be translated, because obviously you cannot translate a logo, and shall not be copied. That is a no-no. Please never do that. I know that recently we had an event, and our president, the Aussie president, Angelo Barboto, he said that he actually literally said, please do not copy logos. You're going to get in serious trouble one day, because if these identities find out that there are translations sending to authorities with their logo, those papers, those translations are not from them, so their brand shall not be represented. So this is very serious. It's a very serious legal issue. He advised our colleagues not to do it. I'm doing it now. I've never done it. Logos are off limits. So please remember this. Never copy a logo. Never. It doesn't matter. The logo is not to be translated. The logo is not to be copied. The authority will see the logo, will see that the document came from that company. The translation is just a translation of whatever that company wrote on that document. Now, if you have any suggestions of any subject that you would like to see discussed in our Insiders, just please leave a comment below and I'll be very happy to address it. And of course, share your opinion with me. What do you think about certified translation? Do you do certified translation? Which countries do you work with? What are the regulations? Are they similar to what I have for Portugal and the Portuguese consulate in Sydney? Or do you have different options? Can you use your digital stamp? Do you have certified translators in the countries that you work with? Let us know. It is important to know. It is important to share our opinions and the way that we do business, because if we share all this information, we all learn different perspectives, different cultures, different things. And that's how, in my view, we all grow. Before I go, put a like on the video and subscribe to the channel with a little click on the bell, so you get a notification of a new insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching. See you next week. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.